Okay, and then if anyone's got any questions, what I was going to ask through the session today, because we're not going to do an introduction round the table just because of the time, but if you've got questions today, if you wouldn't mind saying your name and where you come from, what organisation you're from, that would be great. But great to see a good range of organisations here today. And I'm just going to share my screen just now, but the other thing to say is that if you're going to post anything on social media, if you wouldn't mind doing the hashtag Digiren, so that we can gather all those posts together. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to share the agenda today. And unless you're wanting to speak, if you can try and just keep yourself on mute, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, so welcome. And so the agenda for today is, first of all, I'm going to give some updates, quite a lot of information, which I'll try and share some links with you, so you can follow up that information later on today. David Cannon from City Fibres here, he's sneaked in at the last minute, haven't you, David, so that you can give a quick update on things, which is great, and really welcome David being here today. Then we're going to do a spotlight on InRen from Engage. So Zafir is here to talk about that, and I'll let you introduce everyone to InRen today. I'm excited to have you here. And then there'll be a Connecting Scotland update from SCVO, so Claire Sharp's here. Then I'm going to do a wee online tool demo, online collaboration tool demo, just to give you an idea of some of the tools that are available that may be useful to you when you're holding meetings online. And then we've got a new section that was added in called Did You Ask for Help? So Bob McWilliam from Paisley FM 107.5 does need our help today, so I'll let him tell you more about that later. And then we're going to finish off with a spotlight on the STAR project. So Heather Kay will join us later on. She's at another session today, so she can't join us just now. She'll be joining us later, which is brilliant because she's coming from one meeting and straight into ours. And then we'll finish off with any other business and close at 4. So fasten your seatbelts, and we've got a lot to get through. Okay, so the first thing, I'm just going to close this. Okay, so the first thing I just wanted to update you on was that I don't know if you're aware, but there was a Lloyds Bank have just released their UK Consumer Digital Index for 2021. I'll share the link in the chat later on, but just to say there's 2 reports connected with this, which looks at the Consumer Digital Index, but also one that looks at the Essential Digital Skills Report. I'm just going to run this wee video just to give you a quick insight to what it is that they are talking about within this report, and it might be of use to you.
Get no sound, Diane.
Diane, I've tried running these before on the training sessions, and the video, the sound when you're running the video won't come across.
All right, no problem, that's fine. What I'll do is actually just a 1-minute video, so what I'll do is I'll just share the link with you to the website, and then you can access it yourself. It's a quick 1-minute overview. Thank you. Live and learn.
I think for future, there's a way when you go to share your screen, there's a wee box that you tick that says include audio or something, and that should make it work, I think. But
I see.
I've tried that in the past, and that didn't seem to make any difference either to the recipient end.
The Essential Digital Skills Framework explains the digital skills we need for our personal and work lives. From being able to turn on a device, finding a new job, to booking appointments online. Digital skills will open up new opportunities and make your life easier. Foundation skills are where it all begins and are the building blocks to access the online world. From here, you can communicate, collaborate, and share information in the ways that work for you, managing and storing it securely and retrieving it easily. You can use online services to buy and sell things online and keep close to your finances, and find answers to questions in record time, all whilst having the knowledge and capability to keep safe and secure online. To unleash your potential and improve your own skills, visit lloydsbankacademy.com.
Did that work? That was an experiment. Did that work for anybody, Claire?
Yeah, it worked that time.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Great, perfect. Well, that's a good lesson to learn there. So there is an option within Teams where you can say include computer sound. So great. So it was just to share that with you. There's a lot in that report, but just for anybody that's maybe looking for some research, statistics, or evidence around this area for the work that they're doing, then this is a really good source of information. Great. Now the other update I just wanted to let you know about is also you might have seen emails about the Get Safe Online Ambassador Scheme. So this was the opportunity to become an online safety champion or ambassador for Renfrewshire, and it's open up to all staff within Renfrewshire Council, Renfrewshire Leisure, but also out to staff and volunteers across organisations and charities, people that you may know that are working in this area. So it's an opportunity for free training. It's also, Johannes, I know you mentioned about digital volunteers. We're trying to get in place that when people are looking at that supporting others with digital skills, that they're also thinking about the online safety element within there as well. So this is free training where you can get a certificate at the end and you become a Get Safe Online ambassador. So the commitment within that is that there's two sessions that you need to do. The first session is 3 hours and the second session is 2.5 hours. And we're asking for anybody that's interested just to email me after it and we can add your name to the list. We wanted to share this today because the dates are coming up quite soon. We tried to make them a daytime date for people, but also a weekend for those that might be volunteering as well. So this is us just trialling this just now, but we do plan to do other dates in the new year as well. So I'll send an email. I think you'll have seen an email I've sent out about it already, but I'll send another email just to remind you. And if anyone that's interested, if you could get in touch with us. Okay. Carol, did you want to add anything else in there?
No, I don't think so. I think that's fairly. I think that the main thing actually possibly is just please, do communicate this into onto other teams that you work alongside, because what we have found is certainly for some council teams or council-based teams, a lot of people don't actually know about the scheme, but when they find out about it from another source, then they're coming and talking to us about it. So we know that the communication's not really quite there yet. So, please feel free to tell as many people as you want about it. We certainly do.
Great, thank you. And I'll send that email out just as a reminder today. So my next update, then I'll pass to yourself, David, is just to talk about the Citizens' Voice, just to let you know what's happening with that. You might remember that in the past I had did a call looking for people to get involved in a group called Citizens' Voice, and it was to try and together to look at what are the issues and challenges in Renfrewshire around digital inclusion, and then also to work together to prioritise and develop solutions together. So there's a lot of great work happening in that group. We're really excited to share more when we're a bit further down the line, but we've developed a pilot idea which we're taking to the group to get their feedback. But one of the things we are looking at is a digital champion network for Renfrewshire, which we're really excited about. We're also looking at how can we better provide information for people to access support what is there a solution around that as well. So really exciting. And if anyone wants to know any more information or get in touch with me, please do from within this meeting as well. Thank you. Right, David, I'll pass to yourself.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Hello, everybody. It's a long time since I've spoke to you all. I don't know how many of you were around. I think it was in January time, Diane. I honestly can't remember. The time kind of flies, really. For those that, I'll maybe just give you the basic stuff, just to explain who I am for people who are saying, what on earth is this man on about? City Fibre is a privately funded company that is taking on the Virgin Media BT Openreach to bring its own full fibre network to the UK. We're operating across Scotland, across about 60 cities in the UK, and what we do is we're a digital infrastructure provider in the sense that we're putting the full fibre in the ground, but which we then make available to as many ISPs as possible. So we're a bit like Network Rail in that we lay the track but we don't run the trains. The organisation has been in Renfrewshire since we started our build last summer in Renfrewshire, and we're making good progress. We're now in other parts of Glasgow. We had an announcement last week that some of you may have seen that we've confirmed our £270 million investment across the Glasgow city region, but the £40 million in Renfrewshire that we announced last September is additional to that. So it's separate from the council scheme. Some of you will be aware of the connectivity as a service scheme, that the PSN thing that the council are doing. Although City Fibre are a subcontractor to ComsWorld, the stuff my side of the business, which is called Fibre to the Home, we are completely separate and privately funded. Sometimes you find people get a bit miffed because they think they're missing out on something that the taxpayer's paying for, but this is privately funded. So as I say, things are going really, really well. There's a press release came out in September updating everybody on the Renfrewshire build, and I think Diane's going to circulate that later. The key thing for us is that we now have our network live. It went live at the beginning of September, end of August, beginning of September, and we now have 2 ISPs at the moment offering their services. One is TalkTalk, and the other is a Scottish-based one called Broadband, which is part of the HiNet company. And what we offer, or they offer through our network, is gigabit broadband speeds. Just to put that into context, the government will tell you that 95% of Scotland has super fast broadband. Their definition of super fast is 30 megabits. What TalkTalk and Broadband, and there's others as well coming, is 1,000 megabits. So it's quite a different scale. And whilst the focus at the moment is very much on, because of the pandemic, very much on Netflix and Zoom calls and all the sort of stuff that's been difficult for people working from home, I'm very keen to impress that this is much more than that, that this allows the Internet of Things, allows us to do e-health things, all sorts of things that the people will become familiar with, needs the fibre network to do that. Our investment, the work we're doing, when the fibre goes in the ground, it should stay there without any need for maintenance for about 50 years. And it also is anticipating the demands for the next 50 years, so we don't need to dig it up to put in more fibre. It should cope with everything that people have got. So all very exciting, all going in the right direction, I'm pleased to say. I'm happy to speak to anybody if you've got any specific questions about what we're doing. I do have a couple of asks, if that's allowed. The first thing is, obviously, now that the investment is there and the fibre is in the ground, we're really keen to encourage people to sign up for it. Now, although we are not the end provider of the service, if you go to our website, you can register your postcode as someone who's interested in being connected, and that's very helpful for us because it informs the ISPs of interest in specific areas, and also helps our build plans, so that if there's an area we're not in at the moment, but there's a lot of people expressing an interest, and that can help with our prioritization. So if people, I can forward through Diane the links to that. There's actually a Bitly one where I get the credit for anybody who logs on via that link. I can do that, but if not, just go onto our website, cityfibre.com, and right in the middle of the front page is a postcode checker, and that will take you through it. What I'd also be grateful for is if you could just spread the word through your organisations, family, friends, anybody really who you think would be interested, because the more people we get registered, the better. As I say, we're covering most of Glasgow City region, so even if you're not in Renfrewshire, there's still value in you doing that, and I can, if anybody's interested in their specific part of Glasgow, then I can talk you through that at another time. The other thing that would be very helpful for us as well, obviously I don't know where you all come from, what you'll do, but one of the challenges we've got at the moment is getting access to housing associations, and we have the permissions from the council for its social housing stock, but housing associations are proving a tougher nut to crack. Partly I think just because, like everybody else, the pandemic has made life very, very difficult for them. But we're very, very keen, and I know the council are very keen that our fibre is available across a whole range of people and properties and so forth. There's a couple of aspects to that I'll just highlight if you're speaking to people in housing associations. Firstly, we provide the fibre free of charge, all the ducting, all the boxes, all the bits and pieces. There is no cost whatsoever involved in that. The other thing is that we're very keen to promote to housing associations that this isn't just about residents having access to gigabit broadband speeds. There's a huge piece on their building asset management stuff where they will be able to, by having our fibre, they'll be able to put in building systems where they can monitor heating and damp and all sorts of stuff. So instead of sending a man around with a van, which is an expensive way of looking at problems, they'll be able to sit at a computer like this and go into the buildings and work out what's going on. So there's a slightly more sophisticated benefit of housing associations and so forth joining our network. And I have colleagues who deal in that side who will be able to tell you far more if that's something you're interested in. So that is really it. So thank you everybody for the opportunity to speak to you. I've kind of rattled through that very quickly, but if there's anything else, Dan's got my contact details. Happy to come and speak to you or whatever. But we're very, very keen to engage with the local community. Okay.
Great, thank you, David. I noticed Lorna Colville's here from Paisley Housing Association as well. She's part of Digiren. Welcome, Lorna. It might be worth you and David linking up maybe around that as well, if that would be useful.
That would be split.
Yeah.
Maybe we're already in contact, but if we're not, that would be brilliant. Thank you very much.
I've taken details down.
Right, thanks, Lorna.
Great.
I might,
Thank you, and I'll get an email out to follow up on that. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, David, I might get in touch with you separately. I'm a Digital Participation Officer at SCBO, but my colleague and I are working on a housing programme with 10 housing associations at the moment. And I'm also working with Diane and Jason on a project that involves housing, so there might be something there.
That'd be really helpful. Just as an adjunct to that, one of the challenges we have is that telecoms doesn't enjoy the same regulatory rights that other utilities. So water, electricity, and gas can dig up wherever they want without as much as a by your leave. We can't lay fibre without the permission of the landowner. And if there's a housing project or a development of some kind, once the tarmac goes down on the footways, we're not allowed to touch it for 2 years. So there's real value in getting in early to speak to people and to get the permissions. So that would be absolutely fantastic, Claire. That would be anything you can do. That'd be brilliant. Thank you.
Great, thanks. We're only 20 minutes into the meeting, David, and it's already been useful for you. So that's great.
Home now.
Ideal.
Already home.
Right, thank you.
Right.
So I'm just going to pass you now to Zafir, who's going to tell you a bit about his new role at Engage and about the InRen network. Welcome.
All right, thanks for that, Diane. I'm just going to see if I can share this presentation with you, which will hopefully come up. Everybody see it? No?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
It's tough. You can all see it except me.
If it's easier, I can share it for you. And
Yeah, could you,
that's
Diane?
okay. Yeah.
Oh no, it's come up. It's come up. It's come up.
Teams seems to have like absorbed it into itself, and we can now navigate and stuff. That's
All right.
completely new, and I've never seen this before. So every day is a school day.
Absolutely. Okay, if that's okay, and apologies to those who are here. Oops, it's moved. That have perhaps heard it before, but yeah. Okay, so my name is Zafar Hakim. I'm the Integration Renfrewshire Network Officer. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the integration network within Renfrewshire that we're developing. Now, this very much arises from work that Engage Renfrewshire has already done on this area in terms of the New Buddies work, and also their commitment to advance race equality and EDI, equality, diversity, inclusions, throughout the work that they do. It's also been informed by work from the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as some of the situations that have been highlighted through the current pandemic as well. So this has very much been in our thinking as we've developed this, the integration network, and rather the role of the network officer as well. So just looking at the aims of the role, it's about essentially it's about improving awareness and access to health and employment services available to ethnically diverse communities or minority ethnic communities living within Renfrewshire. It's about organising and developing the integration network for Renfrewshire, which I'll come back to. Also contributing to the Renfrewshire Health and Social Care Partnership, health inequality subgroups, which sort of involves identifying and advising changes to health outcomes to improve health outcomes for ethnically diverse communities. Supporting community cohesion, that's bringing together of communities through cultural programs, digital communications, which I'm very much here to talk about, digital inclusion, and anti-poverty work as well, including events and campaigns. And finally, to sort of support the aims of the Scottish Government's race equality framework, which you may be aware of, that has immediate priorities in terms of goals that they wish to achieve by 2030, and also support the aims of the Renfrewshire Community Partnership in terms of bringing together communities as well. So that's very much the broad outline and the background to the role. Well, how do we do this? Well, our activities that we're going to be implementing through the INREN network focuses very much on capacity building, that's building skills and knowledge, data gathering, and engagement with those with lived experience of discrimination stroke racism through the integration network, INREN network for short meetings, and our INREN e-news bulletin. Now, just to talk a little bit about the network meets on a monthly basis, and it's about people, it's really about advising on structural and strategic change on areas such as health, employability, and now education as well. We've looked upon in terms of building a diverse curriculum as well, but also digital inclusion and anti-poverty work as well. So yeah, digital inclusion, obviously looking at some of the barriers to some of the marginalised or harder to reach communities as well, is very much factored within the work. E-news bulletin also goes out to a number of minority ethnic businesses, individuals, and community organisations as well, and informs people of developments, etc., that are happening within Renfrewshire that they may want to know a little bit about. Partnership working on initiatives to improve health and employment. Yeah, I've been working with the Renfrewshire Health and Social Care Partnership and looking at ways that we can drive forward and identify health needs and health outcomes as well. And this will all lead to developing and promoting a race equality toolkit, which will look at best practice outcomes, tips and signposts as well to organisations, and feature some case studies and legislation on race equality and what some of the best practices are. So through this work, it's really about increasing action to tackle barriers to participation for minority ethnics and ethnically diverse communities in health and employability services, but also that includes areas surrounding that. So yes, absolutely, digital inclusion, education, as well as I've highlighted as well, that will all feature into it. And this is about partnership working through meaningful co-design partnership and service delivery improvement, and therefore increased levels of health and well-being. We're hoping that this will lead to greater representation of diverse groups within Renfrewshire decision-making processes and groups. And we're looking to sustain a race equality toolkit and the integration network and ensure that that's community-led and effective. And as such, the network shall be hopefully ethnically diverse. We will include individuals, as well as community groups, i.e. people that are representing communities, diverse communities, to be part of the network. We will also look to make it community-led and sustainable, as I've mentioned, by appointing a chair for the network. That's in the process of happening as well. And also looking to engage with agencies as well that are looking to improve their outcomes in terms of race equality. So yeah, we will be talking to various individuals and various agencies, and agencies can come along to network meetings and make an ask of the network and hopefully work with the network as well. But they will also have to sort of show what their commitment is towards to race equality in terms of what actions have been done, and build a foundation, and also look at targets for improving outcomes through that. Obviously, dignity and respect is a key feature of the network as well. So again, that's just a little bit about what the network is and what it's looking to do. It is specific aims and objectives are still being worked on by the integration network, but we are at a stage where we can hopefully finally move forward a little bit on the network, and I'll look forward to updating you on that as things progress. So just one final thing, just my contact details as well, if you want to take them out. I'm sure Diana will circulate as well, but I just wanted to end with that as well, if you wanted to ask me for about more information, etc., about what I've just discussed as well. So that's it in a nutshell, in a snapshot. I'm happy to answer any questions, and looking forward to working with you all. And I'll see if I can stop presenting.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much. That was great. And it's exciting to hear that you're going to be creating this race equality toolkit as well. That there's an output at the end, and also I think with setting up the NREN network, the fact that you're asking for people not only to join the network but to take commitment, to take action.
Absolutely.
That's something we're also trying to do through citizens' voice as well. So I think that's so important. For me, there's also something around, it's great to have you part of Citizens' Voice as well, and Digiren, to try to make sure that we're understanding what the barriers are for minority ethnic groups, but also what the local need is as well, and make sure I'm involving the right individuals in the right communities. So great to have this network here. So there's now some time for some questions if anybody. We've got about 5-10 minutes here. I'll pass over to the group. If you just say your name and hand up. Yes, go for it, Claire.
Hello, Claire again. I feel like this has been so interesting. I always feel like Digiren, I go away and go, oh, it's given me life. I was going to ask about the toolkit that you're developing. Yeah. So I sit on the internal anti-racism group in SCVO, okay. And we've had some meetings. We've spoken to our other colleagues via, kind of town hall meeting, and we're quite early stages, if I'm honest. I'm really quite interested in hearing a wee bit more about the toolkit and what that might look like, just if it was something that could potentially be shared with the likes of ourselves in the future. Because to be perfectly honest, we're not experts in it, and it'd be great to get help from someone who is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for that, Claire. Like yourselves, we're at a very early stage of developing the toolkit as well. So I'm just sort of looking at various sort of headings at the moment. So there'll be a little bit on lived experience of racism. There'll be a little bit on the legislation and racism, some case studies as well, and links, etc. as well. Now, the toolkit will develop as the project develops. I think I'm in post now 2-3 months. I will be looking at other toolkits as well, similar toolkits as well. I'll be talking to CARE, the Commission for Racial Equality and Rights, who have a lot of information on it as well in terms of, but also more importantly, speaking to people within the network as well, in terms of what they think should be within a toolkit, and organisations like in terms of what you would like us to see. It will be an online resource, so we may sort of launch it quite light to begin with, and then add bits to it as we develop it, because it'll be a developing live model as well as that. So yeah, I'll come back to you. Maybe we can share some learning on that, Claire, if you'd like, and look to develop it as well. We have an online developer that are looking to work with the toolkits, but it is very much on those broad headlines at the moment. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think hopefully it'll be a good output, as you saying, a good outcome as well, particularly in terms of assisting organisations, so that this work isn't being done all over again, and they've got something to lean on. My background came from trade unions, and just to let you know, I worked for the SDC for a number of years, and one of the things that we did develop for trade union reps and officials was a bargaining for equality toolkit, which was really successful because it gave reps who were that were dealing with staff issues on the floor a guide to what they could do if they're faced with particular circumstances, what the best practice is, what good learning tips, etc. are there, what are the models that they could use to promote equality and diversity moving forward, what's good policy generation, what are the features of good policy for equality, diversity, inclusion policy as well, what are the features of policy, so we can go into wider areas as well. But really, I'll be looking to what communities and what organisations say to me that they want in the toolkit as well. So we'll be looking to feature that. But yeah, no, absolutely, it's quite an exciting project, and hopefully at some point in the next few months I can show you some of the briefs and some of the drafts that we're producing and gain your input on that, because certainly I think digital inclusion should feature in it as well in some shape or form. Dan, you and I should perhaps chat about this and about having a section in this as well, and looking at some of the work, because again, it's about tackling these barriers and ensuring that all communities and all groups, not just minority ethnic groups, but all groups that have some sort of access to digital.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely brilliant. Thank you. I think probably I'll definitely be back in touch, Sophia. I'm going to feed that back internally to the racism group, just to let them know a wee update, because I saw you were speaking on the agenda today and I got quite excited. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Any questions? No. Now, I suppose if anyone wants to get in touch with Zafar and looking at joining the network as well, just contact you direct. Yes, Zafar?
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely. I see Johannes is here. He's very much part of the network as well. So there's somebody here on it. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Great, thank you. Thanks for making the time to join us today, because I know you're busy. I'm excited to hear what's coming in the future. Thank you. So I'm just going to pass you to Claire. It's your turn. Just to give an update on the Connecting Scotland and the fast track. Thank you.
No worries. It won't take me long at all. So just in case anybody missed, my name is Claire Sharp, I work for SCVO, I'm Digital Participation Officer. I work on the Connecting Scotland project amongst other things. So for those of you that know, we just recently closed the round 3 phase 2 applications. They've all been assessed by myself, my colleague Jason, and various other people. So people that have applied for devices, you should get your notifications out. Hopefully by the end of this week, all going well. And then after that, it will be up to yourselves to start requesting devices. As ever, the only thing that we ask is make sure you know where the devices are going and get your user details uploaded to the portal as soon as possible, because it's the trickiest part from our end, and it's the most important bit in terms of auditing and monitoring and reporting all those bits. We also have the fast track application still open. So fast track is a weekly round of applications where organisations can apply for up to 10 devices at a time. And it's worth making you all know that the eligibility criteria for this has just changed in a good way. It's opened up a bit more, so I'll just stick the guidance for this bit specifically in the chat. Basically, rather than it having It's changed now that basically all you have to do is be digitally excluded. You don't have to be socially isolated and all the various bits that you had to do now. It's opened up quite broadly. So yeah, so that's the link to that there, and obviously the usual. If there's any questions or things, then please come to us. But that's pretty much all that's happening with it at the moment. We don't think there'll be another round of the on this side of the year, but again, as ever with Connecting Scotland, don't quote me because things are subject to change, although it is probably unlikely. That's all.
Great, thank you, Claire. What's the is it the 12th of November? Is the deadline for the fast track? Is that right?
We thought that was deadline, but I think it's now kind of open-ended because it depends on the amount of devices. So it's to do with the target numbers from Scottish Government. So yeah, I thought it was the 12th of November, but it's ongoing, which is good. So, but what we would say is, if you're thinking about apply sooner rather than later, because once we hit a set number of devices, that's kind of the cut-off. So I wouldn't hang about. It's a dead straightforward application, so it's not something that people need to spend, you know, a lot of time labouring over. It's not War and Peace. If you're thinking about putting an application in, I would do it soon and make sure you know who the people are that the devices are going to.
Yeah.
Bit of advice to give you.
No, great, thank you. And we, myself and Ross McNichol and Alan McNiven are all on the assessment panel for that. But so we're used to seeing applications and seeing what the content is, and it isn't War and Peace. So if you think you need any support with it, just get in touch with us and we'll do our best to help you. Thank you. I'm just going to say that Yvette, just make sure you're on mute. I know I think I can hear typing in the background, so if you're, just check that you're on mute in the background, just so that we make sure we can hear everybody talking. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to do now move on to the next part of the agenda, where I just wanted to share a couple of tools with you that would be useful for online meetings and online collaboration. I'm just going to share my screen for that. So the first one is a tool called Miro. Now, if you just search for this online, so it's miro.com, and I signed up for a free license, really, so there's no cost, and I'm able to get in and use that. Now, I believe you're able to share it with other people and they can contribute to it. So it gives you a chance to try this bit of software out, but allows you for when you're having a meeting to have basically it's an online whiteboard. So instead of having a flip chart or a whiteboard, you do it all on here. So I'll just give you an example of one. So as soon as you sign up, it takes you to this kind of home page, and I can just click add a new board, and that new board is just created. And from there I can use templates that already exist in here, which are really handy. So for example, if you wanted to do a quick, it's called a quick retrospective, where we've got post-it notes, and I can zoom in to this, and we can ask people to focus in one area. For example, fill out a post-it note.
Thank you.
Sorry. Claire, sorry.
I think your screen might be frozen. I think Bernadette's just popped it in the chat, but it's the same for me. Nothing's moved on.
Oh, is it? You can't see me typing hello?
No.
Okay. That's maybe my internet. Let me just come back. And I'll just share the link. So really just to say that there is different pieces of software out there and apps. So Miro is one of them. I'll put this in the chat for you after. But there's also another one called Jamboard. Can you see my screen now? It's just got the main home screen. No, okay, that's fine. Just share it on here and you can look at it maybe yourself. Okay, so this is the Miro link. So it's worth taking a note of that and just having a look at it yourself. The other one that I've seen being used in the past is also Jamboard. Here, share that. Now the difference with Miro and Jamboard is that with Jamboard you need a Gmail account. You need to use your own Gmail email address or set one up, whereas with Miro you can use any address. And then your other option is also within Teams that you can use. I think there's a whiteboard you can use within that, but I know in the past I've discovered that only people that are members of your Teams site and you're set up within your organisation can access that potentially. So just check that.
And can I just check when you say, is it jam as in strawberry Jamboard?
That's right. Yep, I've put the link in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So they're really useful, but for myself, yep. Okay, thanks, Bernadette. Yep, yeah. So that I suppose with Teams, yeah, there's quite a few challenges with using the online whiteboard within there. So I suppose that's why we have ventured out and looked at other options like Miro and Jamboard. So within the council, we do try and use Microsoft Teams, but especially if you're in other organisations, sometimes you can set up a meeting and the other organisation will host the meeting and share the link with Miro and Jamboard so that you could use it from their sign in as well. That's another option. So it's just a really good way of getting that kind of online collaboration using post-it notes. There's great templates there that you can use as even mind map, but it means you can all do it at the same time and all contribute. And I've found it really, really, really helpful and saves on paper as well. So just wanted to share that with you. But it's definitely worth going away, have a play with them, and see if it's something that's useful to you, and then maybe try it out with a colleague before you try it out with a whole team. Great, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to pass you on to Bob. So on the Did You Ask for Help section, we might make this a standing item in the agenda. We'll see if it's something that people find that would be useful. Where it's an opportunity for organisations or services to come into the meeting looking for some help from Digiren, and then us all looking out across our resources and knowledge and trying to find a solution to try and help you, Bob. Yeah, I'll pass over to you. Do you want me to share your presentation, or do you?
Please, yeah, if you can, yeah.
Can you see that? Is that sharing the presentation yet? No. Not sharing, that's it. That's fine. Okay, is that okay?
Here we are.
Great.
Good stuff, thanks so much. Yeah, good afternoon to you all. It's Bob here at Paisley FM, radio for Renfrewshire, with the local community radio station for Paisley and Renfrewshire. And as it says there, the voice of Renfrewshire. Next slide, Dan. There we are, there's our reception area there. It's principally, as you can see, Paisley and Renfrewshire, but we're still on FM 107.5. They cover most of Glasgow, to be truthful, especially if you're driving the car. You get us quite clearly, no problem at all. Over in Dumbartonshire as well, down as far as Dumbarton up to Loch Lomond even. So that's our sort of coverage area on FM. Next slide, Jan.
Sorry, I'm not seeing these slides. I've only got the home one. Is it me or is it?
I guess I've got it on my screen. Anybody else at all?
I'm the same. I'm still at the first page.
Yeah, me too.
Might just be a wee delay in coming through. Ross, what can you see? You're clear.
Just still on the first page.
Yeah, same, first page over here as well.
that happened to anybody before?
See, if you try stop sharing and move it along a slide and then start sharing again, that might, I don't know why, but sometimes it seems to rejig it.
Yeah.
I hate Teams. As a digital person.
Can you see that? Paisley FM.
Yes, I can see the map now.
All right. Okay, the map there, you see it's in green and yellow. That's for DAB, digital audio broadcasting, and we have a license to cover Glasgow City for that. It's currently off the air at the moment. It will return in the new year with a brand new service. It was under the trial before with Ofcom, and the new service will come on in the new year with a better and improved service. Next slide, if it works, Dan. Yeah, you can also get us on smart speakers, wherever you may be. And again.
Okay. Is that working for everybody?
That working?
I'm just the map.
Yeah, I've just got blank screen this time, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, well.
Let me try.
So too much, is it?
Can you see that? Paisley FM is on your TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Okay, yep, so we can get us on TV as well via the TuneIn app. And moving along, and also got our own app as well. You can listen on the move anywhere you are. The Paisley FM app on your phone is free to download. And moving along, we do things with other stakeholders as well. Oh. Yeah, we do some social action and all the rest of it, as you'd imagine, in events. This one here on the screen is with in association with Morrison's and Johnson. Next slide, Dan.
You might need to just talk through the slides, and what we'll do.
Just go through them all. I think that's the best way. Yeah.
I'll bring up the last slide at the end and make sure everyone can see it.
Just push through them then. You catch up anytime. There you are. You can get involved, and fundraising as well. And we do studio guests that you can see there if you're on the right screen. People go down to see us, and also we did an event at the Lagoon as part of the job fair, and also in the Bungalow Bar. That was for the general election a couple of years ago. We did a hustings there, so yeah, that's some of our activities. And moving along. So it's a case of what can you do to help us? We're a registered charity with Oscar. You can see that. It's all volunteer led. And the next slide may come up with the eventual ask. There we are. Here we are. This is at the end here. Oh, there we are.
I'm just going to share that again for you, just to make sure that comes up. All right, that's us.
Hey, there we are. There we are. So this little section of today's event on DigiSupport. So we hear very often bands ask people what help do you need and so on and so forth. So I suggested that here at Paisley FM we're seeking a person, or persons for that matter of fact, to assist with the digital development of the service. We need somebody with a bit more IT expertise than what we have. The team can go so far, but we just need that extra little spark of excellence. So if there's anybody knows anybody who'd be keen to join the team and assist us with some of the jobs need done, be most welcome, be part of the service and have some fun. It may be that somebody does IT at work and it's a bit of a slog, and if they come to us then it's a bit more fun, a bit more interesting, and working with all these sort of crazy people. In the picture you see there is a transmission rack with the telecoms material, and then on the right hand side is the FM transmitter as well. So yeah, that's what our ask is for today, support for a person to help us with all those little IT fixes that need doing. Thank you for that, Diane.
Okay, thank you. Did everyone see that last slide okay? Apologies for that.
Bob, it's Tom.
Yeah.
Tom Kennedy at the university. I have 24 music technology students looking for projects after Christmas.
Oh, excellent.
So I would hope one of them would be able to help you. It really depends on the technology you've got, but obviously they do a lot of stuff to do with sound, obviously music tech, so hopefully someone can help, and I'm struggling to find projects for them. So I'll maybe catch you offline from this meeting and see what we can do.
Absolutely, much obliged, thank you.
Great,
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed. There we go, that might be a result.
I don't know if anyone can top that. That's it, Bob. Is anyone else that you even also think that they would be interested in getting involved? I think just get in touch with Bob. I'll share your details at the end.
Yeah.
Bob and Irene.
Apart from the IT angle, I mean, if anybody else wants to get involved, or we've got a few folk coming through, but there's other things there as well, and even sales and trying to get some advertising and that type of thing. Maybe some commission for you. that would be different, wouldn't it? So yes, there is we want to develop things, and the way to develop it is to get more people involved. Yeah, and improve things. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd certainly quite like to speak to Paisley FM about advertising, marketing, sponsorshipy type things. So if you let me know who I need to speak to there, that'd be great.
Okay, no problem. We'll do. Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
Great, thank you. Now we're ahead of time. We've caught right up. So next we'll have Heather from the STAR project joining us. But just because we've got that little bit of spare time, I just wondered if there was any further questions or thoughts that have come up from today that anyone wants to share or ask. And if you've got a question, you want to type it into the chat as well.
It's almost a wee bit of time, isn't it? I was going to say to Bob, actually, the sort of people you're looking for to sort of help out on the tech side, and do they get to shadow with someone, or is it kind of?
Yes, it would be a bit of mentoring. Yes, absolutely. But it's yeah, everything's IT now, you know, and it just needs that bit of expertise. You know?
Yeah. That's what I was just kind of thinking, if it was somebody that would need to know the way around the equipment first, really.
No, we can take them to a certain level, you know, like I suppose we all can, but just going that extra mile, you know. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, I didn't say we're still based at the Grammar, but you never know, that might change.
Okay.
We've got our eyes on the YM building, if all goes to plan. It's getting into a creative hub, perhaps. That's a possibility, you know.
Okay.
We'll just wait and see how. But at the moment, we're at the Grammar. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Bob, I've just shared, I don't know if Kickstart's maybe an option for you as well, even IT related or just in general, to look at a placement for a young person, but I've shared the link on the chat.
Okay.
But if you did have any questions, I'm working with that service just now, so you could get in touch with me if you want to look at it further, and I'll put you in touch with the right people.
Okay, much obliged. Thanks. Thanks. If you're wondering, just to finish on, is that our audience figures, we're doing quite well with digital, with online. We had an upturn during COVID, and total from what the stats we get from online, on FM, on DAR, we're reaching around about 50,000, 51,000 people a month, you know. So it's not a bad number, you know, considering the options that are out there, you know. Yeah. And we've also introduced a listen again feature, and again that's bringing more opportunities to the website and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Do you think, I suppose, just putting back out to the group, do you think this is useful to have a section like this within the agenda? I can keep it in, and then if anyone comes up with something that they need help with, they can email me before the next Digiren, and we'll make sure it's on the agenda for a discussion. Yeah, great. Yeah, I can see lots of nodding faces. Thank you, and smiles. Thanks. Great, thanks, Diane. Apologies, I've seen that you joined and I forgot to say hello to you. Welcome. Great, okay. So what I might just go back to just now, just that I was mentioning about the Citizens Voice group and some of the work that we're taking forward there. I mentioned about the setup of potentially a digital champion network, and we were hoping to be working in partnership with libraries, and I know Susan's here, and hopefully if we get all the go-aheads, we'll be hopefully looking to recruit for a post for a digital champion coordinator. So it was just really to let you know about that. It's maybe something that you maybe got a volunteer or a staff member working with you that's looking for a future role in this area. There may be an opportunity, hopefully, with approval, that we'll be able to recruit for that early next year. And the hope within that role is that they will deliver digital champions training across Renfrewshire. So if you were a project that was recruiting volunteers, it might be to be doing befriending, or it might be a digital volunteer that you're recruiting, then you don't need to worry about the training and upskilling that person or providing that support. You can send them to that digital champion coordinator, and it means that everybody across Renfrewshire who's a digital champion has the same type of training, and we're all starting from the same position as well, but also it gives a network of support for each person. So you might just be volunteering and not know anybody, but through this network you might get to know other organisations and also hear about if you are volunteering or if you're a staff of other possible partnerships or possible job opportunities that might come up in the future. So we're really excited about it, and we're looking for a pretty spectacular person to lead on that. So fingers crossed, Susan. I don't know if you want to say a wee bit about it at all before I'll hand over to Heather. I'll let you get settled, Heather. Nice to see you.
No, I was just going to say we're all very excited, and we're hoping that might replace in some way the Digiteer coordinator post that we lost fairly recently. So we have missed that as a support for our Digiteers. So yes, very excited, and thank you very much for helping to push that forward.
No, thank you, and thanks. I think that, I mean, thanks for libraries being so open and flexible in their thinking around it. So it's great. It's a great bit of collaboration between us all. So. So watch this space for next year. Okay, I'm just going to hand you to Heather. Heather, thanks so much for joining us from the STAR project. Great timing, and we were actually running ahead of schedule. So it was nice actually to get that break, because an hour and a half is a long meeting. as well, so I appreciate that. So I'll hand you over to Heather, who's going to give you some insight into the work they've been doing around digital inclusion. Thanks, Heather.
No problem. Hello. Thank you. I'm just running over from the Early Action System Change meeting where I was presenting. Somebody wrote my speech for me and it was magic and I couldn't tell any inappropriate jokes. I did do a couple of inappropriate jokes, but it was grand. I'm going to try and be better with you guys because I appreciate you've been on you've been on here for a wee while. I have actually done I was going to lie to your faces. I've got a presentation and I was going to share my screen and it looked supersonic, but it was not me and it's an old one. So I will just chat through really what we did around digital inclusion, particularly over lockdown. Back in those heady days, it was the 18th of March last year. We realised that we were going to have to close the building and we panicked because we are seen as a vital lifeline. We've been around for 22 years and we didn't want to close that service off to people, and we knew it wasn't good enough to close our doors. We knew that we had to keep going, so we scrambled. Our poor fearless leader Sharon Macaulay had COVID very seriously, but as usual led from her bed, and so the two of us would start these kind of meetings very early on to go, what are we going to do? And in less than 32 hours we had gone from all of our services being face-to-face to all being online. 32 hours to try figure out how are you going to deliver a drop-in. Excuse me, I am just going to close my, we're doing a digital thing and I'm getting heckled by technology. How are we going to do counselling? How are we going to do our drop-in? How are we going to do all of our group work, our toddler group? And what they based it on, and this is why the team did laugh long and hard when I said I was coming on to speak about this today. They based it on, if Heather can figure out how to get into it, then we know our community members can do it. It's the lack of respect that's the most painful. But they were like, we had used the wonderful Karen McIntyre Engage, which we all know and love, had set up a Slack channel for a project we've been working on, and I kind of figured it out. I was like, yeah, you know what, I can figure that out. So our community, so we would run back and forwards, and we had two lots of drop-ins to trial ideas, and we would run out to the community members and go, okay, so if we set this up, would you engage with it? And then they were really quickly and saying, yeah, you know what, I don't understand what that is. I wouldn't like that element of it. So we would run back again. But the Slack channel really worked great for our drop-in. We needed to closely mirror what we had always done, because it's that kind of psychological safe space that makes people engage with us and have been for years. So we realised that we could have our partners come in and visit on the Slack channel into drop-in each day, running exactly the same times as we always did. So Citizens Advice Works, the credit union would pop in to the drop-in, sit there and chat away to them, and when somebody goes, can I get a word with you, they would jump into their own personal chat. And then for them that felt great. For community members where literacy, digital or otherwise, wasn't particularly high, we ended up doing a couple of Zoom drop-ins a week. So we made sure that so that they could participate that way. There was a fair few times where we had to meet them out in Fountain Gardens, holding up little things going, do you think this works? Just so that they were comfortable enough. We were very lucky to benefit from the Connecting Scotland funding, which meant that very quickly we had to get all these devices out. But all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, we're giving you a device with literally no backup. Those wee MiFis are wonderful things, designed by Satan himself. I have no idea how to do that. What is it? And so people kept phoning us up going, how do you work that? And no, not you, Heather, don't want to speak to you. But in the end, we just would go on to Zoom together, and they'd hold it up and they'd try and talk me through it and teach me that way. And it was such a lovely, we were all scared, let's be honest, we still kind of are. And it was such a lovely environment, because our community members were not prepared to not have us in their lives. The only thing, I think some partners now in Renfrewshire think that we're a food distribution organisation. They forget of all the creative stuff that we do, because we did so much food provision. It was over 9,000 people from 1,000 prior to COVID. It went over 9,000 in the space of a year, which was frightening. That was the only thing that wasn't digital. Everything else was online, and it was working great. It was going really well. Then summer happened. And something that's really important to our community members is we go away on summer trips. It's a way for the community all to come together. People that would never ordinarily engage with us get to go away on these trips, and it's a way for them to bond. And it was something that a lot of community members felt really aggrieved at. That was the worst thing for them, was like, I only ever go away with Star, so I don't even have that now. So what am I supposed to do? So we put our heads together and we met this wonderful artist called Rachel Minek. I want to call her. She was just in fact, I think she's probably in the building still now. And she said, tell us what it is that you like about the day trips. And so people were like, oh, it's the bus whenever, you know, somebody's shouting it's too hot, somebody's shouting it's too cold, and, you know, and it's that bit, or it's getting there, and it's the smell and the feel. And from that, we developed, still not quite recovered, we developed, and the entirety of July was all presented over Zoom. The day trips were recreated for a sensory extravaganza. So we were 8 hours on Zoom, 7 to 8 hours on Zoom every Thursday of July. I like to point to my grey hairs and go, that's that right there. That was that. It's sitting on Zoom. But it was brilliant. We would get packs out to them, and it was, we called it a sensory extravaganza, because it was like the smell, the touch, the taste, the feel, and we'd worked with the community members around what they liked, that constant evaluation stuff that we do with them. So they would get their little pack, and it would be a candle melt that smelt like hay for the zoo. We could have gone a different way, but I got overruled. You know, we had animal blankets that felt like stroking an animal, and then for all those things we would stay on. I was convinced, pessimist that I am, that there was no way that community members were giving us 8 hours of their time. And actually the only drop off we had over 250 people participated over the 4 day trips, and 2 people had to stop, and it wasn't through any other reason than something was happening in the background for them. They got challenges. The stuff that they produced was second to none. They were super creative, and they got their lunches served out to them, and it was really the kind of feedback that we got in the evaluation was exactly what we would expect from the trips. And each week we would get a little bit more, and a few more would come on, and a few more. It also gave me a chance to dress up each and every time. That's why I'm going to spare you. I'm not going to show you my the pictures of me dressed up as a panda or a bus driver, or but people were just so desperate for that connection that they were prepared to overlook lots of different things, and that was a real gift. Our community are incredibly forgiving as long as they can see what direction we're going in, and we feel really blessed because of that. And it's been great that we are now meeting up face to face again. But for some of our community members, they don't want to leave the digital side. We had about 2,500 unique individuals would access our service prior to COVID, and currently we're over 10,000 unique individuals since COVID, and it has been wild, and many of them are engaging with us in lots of different fun ways, but some of them can't make the journey into STAR, so we've kept the digital element because we know how really important it is. We know that we've learned all these different polls and different things, and if somebody's not enjoying it face to face, they're like, do you know what, we should have done this online, like this would have worked better online. And they are absolutely leading us down that thing. So now when I write a programme, just in case, because as much of a pessimist I am, my boss is much more of a pessimist, and she's like, do not write a programme where you do not assume that we may go into lockdown again. So we kind of do this thing with them where we write a programme in face-to-face, blended, and then completely online. And every time I write it, I go out to the community members and I go, would that work for you? And they're like, yeah, no, change that. I wouldn't have that there. I would move that. And they've become absolute experts. And I love seeing that. I love seeing these thousands of community members that hated anything digital before suddenly being like, they know the different, they know what they're doing, they know what works for them. And they have got, my kind of biggest story about it is there's a real, our drop-ins are always, you can have somebody sitting with a diagnosis of schizophrenia sitting next to somebody with benefit sanctions, next to somebody's a wee bit lonely, an artist who wants to come in and learn you know, where he can do his street art. And we've got a really funny band of shenanigan makers in here. But it was so different over lockdown that we've got this group, and there's about 12 to 15 of them that had never spoke to each other before lockdown. It never happened. And now they spend every evening on Zoom together, reading each other's children bedtime stories. And obviously I am pretty tired and the coffee's well enough, but it just brings a lump to my throat, because all of a sudden technology, and I'm a Skianach, I'm from the Isle of Skye, I would rather be communicating in smoke signals, and all of a sudden I've seen this change and I'm going, actually, doesn't that connect us in a way that we never thought of before? Isn't that so super important? And we can't forget it. We can't forget the lessons we learned during lockdown, so that there's literally no excuse. I'm looking at the weather outside and I'm going, aha, I think we're going to have quite interesting snow this year. Remember those heady days of snow days? They're not an excuse this year, because now we've got technology, and we know that it works, and it means that I did a case study with one of our community members the other day, and she just went, now I know, like I always assumed it, but now I know that I'm never going to be left alone. Like, because there's that technology there, because there's all of those things that back it up. And we were in a wonderful position wherein we had the fantastic Engage Renfrewshire and Diane and Ross, and you know, poor Ross, how many times did you come out and deal with our nonsense? But you know, that we've got such a fantastic community in Renfrewshire where we can all phone each other up, get on the phone, go, I don't understand what's happening here, what's that, what are you doing, how are you using that? And I think that we keep that going, and just keep pushing it back to the community and seeing what's working for them, because I think going forward, I think we're going to have to get ahead of it, and we are infamous in the third sector and some of the statutory services have just been a little bit behind the curve on stuff, of not taking these opportunities to be super excited about it, but we're very, very creative, so you can think around that. That was my havering one. I'm over time. No, sorry, that I should have maybe gone with the presentation, but I just thought I'll maybe send that out to you, Diane. You can circulate it, because it made much more sense than me havering.
No, I loved it, and it wasn't havering at all. If that's havering, then I'm in. No, thank you. We were having some trouble with PowerPoint presentations anyway on here, so actually that was the correct decision. Oh, I love that, Heather. I absolutely love the work that Star Project have done. I mean, gosh, to go from, you were saying 2,500 to 10,000 engagements, I mean, that is just unbelievable. And the other part for me is when you were talking about just how you just got together, solve problems. It is scary. Tech is scary. It is. I'm not even a huge fan of tech. To me, it's just a means to an end. Mm-hmm. If it can enable something to happen like that, when you're talking about the bedtime stories, I mean, that, gosh, I'll make go. I was getting emotional thinking of that. You know, it's a means to an end, and for some people it can be life changing. It can be a lifeline, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. Is the changes it can bring to people's lives, and that equality and giving a voice. But there's something in, I think, what you said about just for us to learn from you within that, where you said, well, just took it out to people. Would that work? Would that work for you? and they are the absolute experts, and I think we need to do more and more of that, and that's what we're trying to do through Citizens Voice, but we're still learning and need to keep it improving. So I think there's a lot we can learn from what you're doing, Heather. Thank you. Does anyone get any questions or anything?
I have like 40,000 questions. That was such a brilliant presentation, Heather.
Thank you.
I'm Jason, one of the participation officers with SCBO. No, that was really great. It was so good to hear, and you can see the enthusiasm on your face as well. It was just brilliant. One of the interesting points for us, I think, is that blended approach. So knowing that you don't plan anything without having an online option as well. And I'm wondering if you have managed to capture any of the learning around that. So kind of how you got to that point and how your audience has kind of reacted to that and help shape that.
Yeah, we are nothing if not absolute stats geeks at Star Project. Me and the boss, we love a good evaluation. Excel, my best friend. So we've monitored all of what we did, because it's great. What does it say? Without evidence, you're just a good salesperson. It's when our community have said that will work and that won't work, and I can absolutely share some of the rationale, because every time we decide to do something new, I've almost got like 2 pitches. I pitch one to the chief exec and I pitch one to the community. Community are much harder. So they even down to when we said, right, we're going to go back face to face, and we'll keep one of the drop-ins online. Our community turned around and went, that's a cop-out, isn't it? And we were like, well, no. And they were like, well, what did you learn about people with ASD? I was like, oh, that's a good point. And they were like, yep, your workshops all of a sudden, they're not going to come into Star Project, so you better keep that going. So we're working with a writer at the moment who we're going to, in fact, the first one's this week, and she's going to work with young people in the project, and we're also going to have it set up on the wall, projected up on the wall, so that young people can join us and keep their camera off and just type if they want to, because we had that a lot. We did the Orwell Youth Prize that way. Loads of young people never ever engage, and the rationale for that was that we just simply asked them, like, would you have engaged had this been in person? And the resounding answer was no. We've never seen engagement levels of this type ever. And it would be wrong to stop it. So I'm quite happy to share our rationale with it, because the blended learning element as resistant as I've been to it, our community have said, no, that's not good enough. Like, learn really quickly. Even what we have there is, I keep saying, oh, we'll set it up on the laptop and then people can do that. And they're like, no. And community member came in the other day and she says, so I've looked at that thing that you put on top of your TV and it follows you around. And she went, I'm sure I can explain that to you, Heather, and we can sort that out. And so we'll get there together. But yeah, like that blended learning element is really respecting what was achieved during lockdown and not losing it and suddenly just reverting back because magically it's gone away, which it hasn't.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah, I think I just have to echo what Jason said. I knew as soon as Diane was like saying any questions, I was like, Jason will be like, me! I have questions. But yeah, honestly, Heather, it was really interesting to hear, and you've kind of made my day a wee bit. Listening to that kind of enthusiasm for the blended approach. Some says we've been working on this a lot, and one of the things that we've been struggling with SCBO because, you know, as you probably know, we've been like a umbrella organisation. We don't really do major amounts of frontline work, so we're kind of making assumptions at the moment about what we think we know. Oh, that's great. So Bernadette's chipping in with the same thing. I suppose I'm flip it slightly, not to be negative, but what we've heard from some people where that people are feeling a bit digitally burnt out. Of being on Bernadette's nodding as well. I just wondered if Irene has any on that.
Yep, the guy being zoomed out. So our toddler group, interestingly, with all the rapid increase in numbers, we mucked about with the toddler group because we appreciated getting a 2-year-old to sit in front of Zoom. I mean, we're good, but we are not miracle workers. So we did loads of talking workshops. We've got a volunteer, we've had her for years and years and years. Her name's Margaret, she's from Yorkshire, and the young people know her voice instantly. She's like, wonky donkey. So we got her to like do these videos so that they absolutely recognised her accent, and we were doing that, and then people got bored with that. So then we brought them onto Zoom, and that was fine, but it was more about setting, we set tasks, but the numbers dropped lower and lower, and parents, families and caregivers told us that's not going to work. So as quickly as we could move to face-to-face, i.e. outside, we did, and we're doing a coercive control thing with young people who were just over it. They were like, this is painful. So we were like, right, okay, well, how can we change that? How can we bring you in? But in reality, we just changed the tempo of what we were doing. So we were presenting, we're having these open conversations, and then we were like, right, you present, you figure out something new that you're going to bring, that you're going to teach us about, and then you share your screen and you show us. And it really got the young people like more engaged, and it was like, so I don't know what Twitch is. I got a good idea, but it's not technical. So they were coming in going, we're going to teach you today about this, that, and it's like, put the ball in their court, right? You entertain me, we're not here to entertain you. You tell us what we're doing wrong. And it got them re-engaged again. As long as you balance it, and it does need to be balanced. It's a really difficult thing where you kind of go, our community members would still meet. If they don't have to brush their hair and put trousers on, then they're all in for that. They were quite happy to do it. But our younger people, our young, and obviously our older community members, not all of them, but a good majority of them, they want, they need to be, they need that kind of carrot and stick thing to keep them just as engaged as humanly possible, because you need to be able to go, okay, well, if we do it online this week and the work from that moves over, or you do something where if people don't want to get involved in the online one, people don't feel left out. So we've got our Slack channels, and what we do is if we do a workshop online that somebody can't engage with, we make sure that all of those resources are there, and we've got a couple of people who will not go anywhere near digital technology, so we print all that out and then they're part of it as well. So it's just, I don't know, it's hitting it over a lot of different avenues, and it felt like a heck of a lot of work at the start, and it feels less now. For some reason it just makes natural sense. The policies and the processes that were just painful to get in at the start, all of a sudden they were just like, right, well, we know that we Tam down the road, he's not going to go on, right, okay, so we'll print that out and we'll get that, and it just means that our engagement figures are so high now because we're hitting it on lots of different levels. But at some point somebody's going to have to invent something that makes it just a little bit better for young people. You know, I think they're going to be the first to drop out altogether from the old FaceTiming.
That's brilliant, and everything you said there made total sense. Also, thanks Bernadette for sticking in the chat as well, and people steering what's there to help maintain engagement. Yeah, I totally agree, and you put it in such a clear way, so that's been dead useful. Thanks very much. I can see Diane's brain whirring, so I imagine there might be further questions in the future.
I know. I think we'll be back in touch with you, Heather. Sorry.
It's okay. You're always welcome.
Some of your own success. I know. Thank you. You know, it was just such a brilliant presentation to end on. We should maybe just do that in future. Do the agenda that way. Thank you. Just leaves me we did a bit of any other business just before you come on. So. Just finally to say, if anyone's got any final questions just before I bring things to a close. No, right, great. And just what we'll do is we'll after this session we'll send a link to the recording so that for anyone that's not made it can watch it, and also Ross is kindly going to put together some notes, key points from the session and any links and presentations. So I hope you'll agree that you found this session really useful, and there was hopefully something that each and every one of us can take away from it, and we'll be in touch to get a session arranged in the new year once we all come back refreshed. Right, thank you very much for your time. Great to see you all, and thanks for coming along and
thanks
joining
much.
us.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.